Hello, friends, and welcome back. Today, we're diving into the incredible value of experimentation in our lives. We all love to draw inspiration from other people. People watching is a very common, popular pastime, although most of us hide behind our screens to do it. We like to see how other people live because it gives us ideas for how we could live. But sometimes, instead of getting inspired, we start to feel discouraged. We start to believe that other people are special in some way. We assume that they all have innate talents that we don't have, and I'm sure some of them do. And yes, having talent definitely makes a difference, but you'd be surprised how often average people do impressive things. A lot of what we admire in others and desire for ourselves is attainable. We just haven't yet figured out the process to get there. The great news is that we have a ton of information at our fingertips. We have podcasts, we have books, we have the internet, we have videos. If you have never researched the things that you dream about, now is probably the time to do so. As you learn more about what other people have done and you start looking into your options, your aspirations will feel less impossible. So let's talk about the value of experimentation. For many things in life, there is no single perfect way to get things done, and you have to experiment to find the way that works best for you. I have talked before about the importance of aligning outputs with your inputs. It's great to consume a lot of information, but at some point, you have to do something with that information. You have to act on it. Exercise is one of those examples I always come back to because it is so easy to grasp. Some people love cycling, some people love running. Some people are really into martial arts. Other people swear by Pilates, CrossFit, or bar. If you look at 100 people who make fitness a priority, you may find that they all do something different. If you want to become someone who's all about fitness, the key is then not to find the perfect exercise that works for everyone, is to experiment until you find the type of exercise that works for you. So the first benefit of experimentation is that it helps you clarify your path. You simply cannot decide what form of exercise is best for you by reading about it or watching videos. You may have a sense of what you would like to try, but until you try it, you cannot confirm that it works for you. You need the reality check of how your body responds to the exercise and how you feel both during and after. As soon as you start trying different things, the picture becomes clearer for you. And instead of consuming content about 10 potential things, you can narrow your focus on the one thing you've identified that works for you. You can start taking more calculated steps towards what you want. Another benefit of experimentation is that it breaks up the monotony. If we do the same things we've always done, we cannot expect different results than what we have currently. If we never try anything new, life can feel like a never-ending treadmill. But when we start to embrace experimentation, we inject novelty and excitement into our routines. And this doesn't have to be extreme to be valuable. You can set up small experiments based on tips you've learned. You can try small experiments to boost your productivity, improve your health and wellness, or simplify your life. And these small experiments can lead to big changes overall. So when you come across a piece of information that intrigues you, you should try it out for yourself. All those small changes add up. James Clear famously talks about the compounding power of 1% improvements. The next benefit of experimentation is that it fosters resilience. Let's face it, not every experiment will be successful. Some of them will end in failure. But failure is a great way to get closure on an idea you would otherwise be ruminating on. As soon as you can figure out what works and what doesn't, you can redirect your attention where there is potential. As we normalize experimentation, we become more innovative and adaptable. We make room for exploration. As soon as we come across information that has potential, we test it out to decide whether we should invest in it further or whether we should pivot to something else. Experimentation helps you become a problem solver. You start to look at obstacles as opportunities for growth and improvement. So now let's talk about how to start experimenting more. Step 1 is to pick one experiment. Is there a new habit that you've been thinking about starting? Is there a new routine that you would like to design? Think about something you've always wanted to do, but you've been putting off until someday. What is something that would have a positive impact on your life if you could figure out how to do it? You are assuming that this one thing could make a big difference. Why not put it to the test? Google the steps required. Research a few people who have done the thing you want to do. Come up with a version of this that you can try for yourself. If there's a cost associated, sign up for a free trial or pay for a trial period. If necessary, call a few places and get some estimates. Whatever you want may be more affordable than you think. If what you want feels too big, what is the smallest scale of it that you can try right now? Next, define the parameters of your experiment. Before you get started with the experiment, get clear on a few things. How many times do you need to try this activity to make up your mind? If you're experimenting with a new habit, how long do you have to try it to have sufficient data? What will be your pass-fail criteria? How will you decide if this experiment was successful? It's important to think through the parameters of your experiment so you don't give up too soon. Deciding this in advance will prevent you from reacting impulsively when you step out of your comfort zone. Because as soon as you start to feel uncomfortable, your instinct will be to retreat back to what feels familiar. If you join a dance class, for example, the first time may feel very intimidating. Maybe you'll feel very uncomfortable because everybody else seems to know so much more than you do. But that would be no reason to quit because they have been practicing longer than you have. In that moment, you may feel so out of your element that your instinct is to never go back to the class. But if you considered this in advance, you would have thought through the scenario and come up with a better plan. Maybe your goal is to attend 5 sessions before making up your mind. It is also very possible that some of the dance class times are more popular than others, and you just happen to pick one that is well attended. What if you tried a different time when the class size is smaller? What if you tried the class with a different instructor? The point is that to make the most of your experiment, you have to give it a fair try. This is much easier to accomplish if you take some time in the beginning to think through the parameters. The next step is to document each attempt. After each trial of this new behavior or activity, write down your impressions. This doesn't have to be very long, just a couple of sentences or bullet points describing how it went and how you felt. The great thing about trying something multiple times before you make up your mind is that you can adjust for bad days that were completely unrelated to the experiment. If you're generally having a stressful day or you're not feeling your best, that will likely impact anything new you try that day. But hopefully that is only one data point in your experiment. By repeating an experiment a few times, you can have a better sense of how you like it without other unrelated things clouding your judgment. You may also notice different results from different variations of your experiment. Maybe the 6 p.m. class on Fridays feels a lot more intimidating than the 2 p.m. class on Tuesdays. By doing multiple trials and documenting your impressions after each attempt, you are building data around this experiment. Of course, this is subjective data and mostly qualitative data, but it'll give you a good basis to make a decision on. And the last step is to evaluate your experiment. Once you have concluded all your attempts, go back through your notes and see how the experiment went. You may notice a progression in your experiment from one attempt to another. What did you learn from trying this? Did you start to see any improvements throughout the experiment? Do you think it could get even better if you continued? Did you get positive results overall? Was this activity or behavior as good as you thought it was going to be? If not, what would have made it better? How else could you have approached it? Do you want to try this experiment again but with a few modifications? Maybe this experiment revealed that this activity or behavior simply isn't for you, and that's okay too. You can choose to let this go knowing that you have given it an honest try. What we want is for you to not discount your ability to do something until you've researched its feasibility and given it a proper try. Don't give up on an idea until you've tested it. So set up mini experiments, follow through on them, and make decisions based on the data you have collected. I hope you'll experiment often and that you'll find new things that work for you. Remember to try to make this process fun. For now, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.